Hello, I'm the Reverend Patricia Hart, Developmental Minister of this First Unitarian Universalist Society of Burlington, a progressive, loving, inclusive congregation that has been here in the center of Burlington for over 200 years. Thank you for being here. Members of the society and friends of the members and friends of friends and wanderers on YouTube, it's great that you're here. I'm glad you've come. Unitarian Universalism affirms and promotes the inherent worth and dignity of every person and celebrates the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. We're connected, and today we are apart in body, united in our hearts and in our care for each other and the world. I am grateful today and always to the people of this congregation, and especially for those who helped to create this worship service, in addition to Sam Whitesell and James Stewart for their music. This week's service includes a special treat. Erika invited the McHulty deRosset family to create for us a reflection for all ages. So Louis and Mary Beth and Penelope and Adele, who are members here, but who left in January for Oslo, Norway, have created a story for us. They are well, they send greetings from Oslo, and I'm loving the fact that some wonderful connections can be made while we are living in this time of virtual congregation. I hope you have your chalice nearby, whatever your centering object is, candle, whatever. Thank you so much for your pictures. If you sent a chalice picture, that's wonderful. And if you still have one that you want to send, it's not too late. Find a comfortable place to sit, warm up your coffee or your tea. Let us settle in at a distance together. Let us worship. This, then, is to worship, to hope for a healing that can transform, that can make us whole, even when we are apart from those we love. To worship is to have faith that we can return to the sources of our being, that we can rest for a moment in that which holds us in love, even when we are most alone. To worship is to breathe freely, to glimpse and even to touch eternity. As we get ready to light our chalice, I've drawn upon the words of a friend and colleague, the Reverend Kelly Weissman Asperth Jackson, who says that light a chalice flame to open our worship because it reminds us what fire does not forget. How to fill the world with radiance and heat. How to burn with purpose and with passion. How to spread lightning quick when conditions are right. How to smolder in our ashes without ever dying out. And when the winds are high and the rains are hard, how to burn on just as brightly in defiance of the storm. Say with me the words of our chalice lighting. We kindle this chalice flame to remind ourselves of the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment. And now the reflection for all ages. The McHulty deRosset family created this story. The girls wrote the script themselves, and Mary Beth and Louis were the backstage helping off screen. I hope that you enjoy the story.
Timmy lives with his grandmother. Tomorrow is his birthday, but because he and his grandmother are practicing social distancing, he can't have his big party with all of his friends.
I'm bored.
Now, Timmy, I know that you're sad because you can't have your big birthday with all of your friends. But we can still have a happy birthday here, just the two of us. Why don't you go read the new book I got you?
I already finished it.
Well, then why don't you go play a video game? Or maybe you can help me bake your birthday cake.
I wish I could go to dance class.
You know we have to stay home for a while to avoid getting sick or making anyone else sick. But we can have a dance party here, just the two of us.
With all due respect, Grandma, you're a terrible dancer. And I'm bored.
I know, Timmy, but you can't just do nothing. You have to do something. You cannot just mope around the house all day.
But I'm bored.
Poor child. He was so looking forward to seeing all of his friends. If only there was a way for him to see his friends without anybody leaving their houses.
Grandmother suddenly remembers something. One of her friends told her about a way to talk with people in a video, online. What was it called again? Zip? Nah, that wasn't right. It was Zoom. She had the perfect plan. Grandmother spent the rest of the afternoon calling all of her friends and all of Timmy's friends. One by one, they all agreed to the plan. Timmy spent the rest of the afternoon sulking in his room. The next day was Timmy's birthday. He woke up in a bad mood.
I'm bored.
We have cake. You like cake?
It was finally time. Grandma put a hat on Timmy's head and clicked a button on the computer. All of his friends were on the screen.
See, Timmy? All of your friends are here. And you know who else came? Everyone from the First Unitarian Universalist Society of Burlington.
Hi, everyone.
Timmy had a fantastic birthday with his grandma, all of his friends, and everyone at the First Unitarian Universalist Society of Burlington. How do you feel, Timmy?
I'm not bored anymore. Everybody join in.
Be still for a moment. Rest with me. Breathe, reflect, close your eyes if it helps. We all do this differently. Some of us meditate or pray or just notice where we are sitting and feeling. First, we will listen to some spoken words, and then we will call up our joys and our sorrows, what's with us in this moment, after which we will end in some shared silence. The words for reflection today were written by Jan Richardson in her book, The Cure for Sorrow, and they will be read by Erika Reif.
So may we know the hope that is not just for someday, but for this day, here, now, in this moment that opens to us. Hope not made of wishes, but of substance. Hope made of sinew and muscle and bone. Hope that has breath and a beating heart. Hope that will not keep quiet and be polite. Hope that knows how to holler when it is called for. Hope that knows how to sing when there seems little cause. Hope that raises us from the dead, not someday, but this day, every day, again and again and again.
Take a breath. How is your hope? Is it strong? Can you find it amid everything else? The worry and the fear and the frustration and sadness, perhaps the rage. Hope might be sitting next to joy. Joy for springtime, joy for children in our lives, joy for kindness, which is there, which is everywhere, all around us, always stronger than indifference, always showing up as love and justice and mercy. So much has been lost, so much is about to begin. Perhaps your hope might be a spark just when you need it most. Hold all of your joys and sorrows, your hopes and fears. Hold them tenderly. They are your teachers. Remember, too, that you are not alone, that others are holding you in mind and heart and prayer. Take a breath. Let us be quiet together. Let us sing together, Spirit of Life. So every week during this time of online church, we are doing a collection. We are taking up an offering, reminding ourselves and one another that the congregation is the gift of its people, the gift to each other and to the world. And the amazing thing, even during this time of distancing, you are giving gifts. You are sending in checks in the mail, you are making a gift through the website or through your Realm profile for members. You're sending in text gifts. Those of you who are members of this congregation and others too, you are supporting it. You are giving now, and many of you are pledging now for the year to come. It fills my heart to know how much you believe in this religious community and in each other, how much you believe in First UU's work in the world. Thank you. Today's offering will be shared with TRUST, which stands for Transgender Religious Professional UUs Together, whose mission is to support Unitarian Universalist trans religious professionals who advocate for each other and their ministries and who transform Unitarian Universalism and our world. The ways to give will be on the screen. I hope you will be generous. This morning's offering will now be most gratefully received. Will you say together with me the words of dedication for our offering? With gratitude, we dedicate these gifts in the service of our mission to inspire spiritual growth, care for each other and our community, seek truth, and act for justice. I didn't originally plan to preach about hope today. It is a topic that I'm familiar with. I've preached about hope many, many times over the last 2+ decades. I've quoted wise people who tell us to opt for hope because it can change everything. I've told stories that are hard and turn out hopeful in the end. I've read poems where hope shows up just when you'd least expect it. I kind of don't know how to put a service together that doesn't have hope in it somewhere. Hope is what we need, I've said, in order to stay awake and engaged, to stick it out through the hard times, to believe it when people say it gets better. After all, my favorite line in my favorite poem by Wendell Berry, Manifesto, the Mad Farmer Liberation Front, that line is, "Be joyful, though you have considered all the facts." At the same time, I know that hope needs to be not the only thing that lies at the heart of a religious community. Religion exists to critique things as they are when as things are fall short of our principles and our values. Religions, the kind that makes sense, call out normal life and culture and habits of interaction and privilege when they are unjust, when they are not fair for all people, even though all people have worth. Dr. King taught us to stay maladjusted to what is not right. Can we be hopeful and creatively maladjusted at the same time? The purpose of religious community, we all know this, is to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable, which means we need to avoid the risk of helping people to feel okay about what is not okay at all. There are times when being hopeful just seems foolish. I was on Twitter this week. I saw something posted by a minister that I follow. He's a chaplain in a hospital, and he was posting about being in a hospital room where he was holding a phone so that a daughter could say goodbye to her dying father from a distance because she cannot be with him. "Death sucks," he wrote, "especially now." Death sucks. So does governmental incompetence and conspiracy theories and lies and the structural inequality baked into our society that right now is guaranteeing that poor people and African Americans and in some places Latinx people are much more likely to get sick and die than white people. The data is incomplete. It may never be complete, but one example. In Mississippi, Black people make up 38% of the population, and they represent 66% of the coronavirus deaths. Because of factors like the siting of toxic dumps and highways, Black people suffer disproportionately from underlying health conditions like asthma and heart disease that elevate the risk of death in coronavirus patients. How do I get to be hopeful when some people will be okay through this pandemic because they can stay home like I can and not starve, and others can't? And then I came across this article. It's called "The Impossible Has Already Happened: What Coronavirus Can Teach Us About Hope." It's by Rebecca Solnit, who is an author and writes, among other things, articles for periodicals like The Guardian, where I found this one. Hope amid catastrophe is one of her frequent topics, when everything is suddenly overturned and what people thought was normal suddenly disappears. Times like now, when, she says, one of our main tasks, especially those of us who are not sick, are not frontline workers, are not dealing with other economic or housing difficulties, our work is to understand this moment, what it might require of us, and what it might make possible. Her point is that during moments of enormous change, we get to see more clearly the political, economic, social, and ecological systems in which we live. We get to see them because they are changing or falling apart. We see what's strong, she writes, what's weak, what's corrupt, what matters, and what doesn't. For example, we could think about how the world is connected through its supply chains, how things we rely upon move through the world, and wonder whether maybe it's not so good to buy so many things that are made so far away. We might appreciate direct face-to-face contact in a way that we haven't. We might wonder if applauding or singing or making noise with neighbors and strangers might actually be helping us develop a new sense of belonging with each other. We might develop new respect for the workers who produce our food and stock our grocery store shelves and those who bring it to our tables. Maybe, once we are no longer required to stay put, we will be reluctant, a bit reluctant, reluctant to resume our rushing about. We might appreciate stillness. It's possible that we are getting it, that we really do share the same fate, that we might be developing a growing awareness of how everyone is part of one earth, and that might strengthen the case for meaningful climate action. After all, we're learning that sudden and profound change is possible, that our war against the earth is not inevitable. Perhaps we are recognizing already that there is enough food and clothing and shelter and education and health care for all, and that access to these things should not depend on what job you do or whether you earn enough money. Solnit cites a lesson she says she learned from survivors of the Nicaragua hurricane in the late 1990s, one of whom said, "You realize that life has to be lived well or is not worth living." Maybe that realization is showing up already. Even now, some countries are changing their laws to make life more possible for poor people and unemployed people and immigrants and asylum seekers. There are even some signs of that here, for workers at least. So, if you are sad and frightened, cherish it as a sign that you care. If you're overwhelmed, well, it is overwhelming, and it will be a very long time before we understand how and why all this happened. We can choose to be hopeful about what can happen in that interim. Here's my favorite quote from Rebecca Solnit's article. She says, "Hope offers us clarity that amid the uncertainty ahead, there will be conflicts worth joining and the possibility of winning some of them." There will be conflicts worth joining and the possibility of winning some of them. We need to avoid the danger of believing that everything was fine before all of this began and we can just pick up where we left when it's all over. It is too soon, she writes, to know what will emerge, but it is not too soon to start looking for chances to help decide it. It is, I believe, what many of us are preparing to do. I want to end this sermon with the wisdom of one more woman, a young woman named Courtney Martin, who is a mother and a writer. She has written a beautiful piece about her days of staying at home, trying to work, trying to be a good teacher for her children and everything. Her blog is called The Examined Family, and I highly recommend it to you. I don't ever want to forget this happened, the grief and the beauty of it. I'm not even sure that will be possible, but if it were, I wouldn't want it. I don't want to vote like it didn't happen. I don't want to eat like it didn't happen. I don't want to consume like it didn't happen. I don't want to schedule like it didn't happen. I don't want to mother or daughter or befriend or neighbor like it didn't happen. I don't want to sit inside this little life, noticing and appreciating and breathing like it didn't happen. There is unnecessary suffering all around me and inside of me too, but there is also necessary meaning. May we hold on to that. Whatever you don't want to go back to, whatever meaning you want to hold on to, I choose to hope that you can do that. I choose to hope that we all can hold on to that. So may it be. So may it blessed be.
Hello everyone. I've been asked to lead the closing song, and so we're going to sing together hymn number 95, There Is More Love Somewhere. There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more hope somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more peace somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more joy somewhere. Just our voices, there's more love. There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere.
Let us extinguish our chalice flame. Would you say the words with me? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and share with the world until we are together again. The benediction today is from the Reverend Gordon McKeeman. Worship need not cease, he writes. It can echo in our lives, in our words, in our deeds, in our moods, and in our dreams. Carry worship with you wherever you may go. Be a blessing in your going out and your coming in. Go in peace.
you.